Okay, so let's talk about the Ten Commandments. Most of us feel like we know them, right? But there's this fascinating puzzle hidden in plain sight. Why in the world does this super famous text show up twice in the Bible? And even weirder, why aren't the two versions exactly the same? Let's dig in and uncover what this repetition is really all about.
So, this is the central mystery we're diving into. The law appears first in the book of Exodus, and then, bam, it shows up again decades later in Deuteronomy. But here's the real kicker. They aren't carbon copies. And that difference, that's not a mistake. It's actually the key to the whole story.
All right, let's just look at the biggest clue right off the bat, the Sabbath commandment. In Exodus, the reason we're given to rest is huge. It's cosmic. It's tied to the actual creation of the universe. But then you jump over to Deuteronomy, and the reason is totally different. It's historical. It's about remembering you were slaves and God set you free. Now, these aren't typos. They are very intentional clues that we are absolutely going to follow. To really crack this mystery, we first have to understand the setting. You see, these two lists of laws were given at two completely different times in Israel's journey, with decades in between. Getting a handle on that then versus now is really the first big step. And what a journey it was. I mean, look at this timeline. We're talking about a massive 40-year gap between the two accounts. The entire generation that first heard the law at Mount Sinai, they're gone. Now a totally new generation is standing right on the edge of the Promised Land, about to hear this law for themselves. So that first moment back in Exodus, it's pure drama. You can almost think of it like a constitutional convention for a brand new country. You've got thunder, lightning, smoke on a mountain, and the voice of God speaking directly to a people who were literally just freed from slavery. This is a foundational, world-shaking event. But then you fast forward 40 years and the vibe could not be more different. This isn't some huge dramatic spectacle. It's much more like an intimate sermon. It's Moses, now an old man, giving his farewell address to the children of the people he led out of Egypt. The tone is completely different. It's pastoral, it's about teaching, not just declaring. Okay, so let's zoom right back in on that central piece of evidence, the Sabbath command, because this is where we see how that huge change in context from Sinai to the plains of Moab creates this profound new layer of meaning. And honestly, this is where the story gets really, really good. So the Exodus version roots the Sabbath in the very fabric of the universe. It's saying by resting on the seventh day, you are literally aligning your life, your week, with the cosmic rhythm of creation itself. It's being presented as this universal principle for all people, for all time. But now, Moses is speaking to a new generation, one that never felt the sting of a whip in Egypt. So he reframes the exact same command. He tells them, you rest because God rescued you. Suddenly, the Sabbath isn't just cosmic, it's deeply personal and historical. It's a weekly celebration of their freedom. So when you put them side by side, you see what's happening. It's the same command, but it's celebrating two massive truths about God. One version focuses on God as the creator of everything. The other focuses on God as the redeemer of his people. By keeping both, the text gives us this richer, fuller, more three-dimensional picture. It's not creation or salvation, it's both, woven together. And this wasn't just a one-off edit for the Sabbath. This intentional shift in focus actually appears in other places too, and it reveals a law that's designed to be applied and understood in fresh ways as the people's situation changes. I mean, check this out. It's a subtle change, but it's so significant. In the 10th commandment, the one about coveting, in Exodus, the text lists house first. But in Deuteronomy, which is for a generation about to settle down and build a society, wife gets moved to the top of the list. It's a small tweak, but you could argue it elevates human relationships over property rights as they're about to build a new community. And here's another huge shift. Deuteronomy adds this explicit social justice clause right into the Sabbath command. And you gotta ask, why? Well, it's because a people who were once slaves must never, ever become oppressors themselves. The law is making sure that rest isn't just a privilege for the rich, but a right for absolutely everyone, including servants and laborers. But, and this is the absolutely crucial point, despite all the different explanations and the added emphasis, the core law itself, the 10 commands, in their exact order, remains identical. This isn't a rewrite. It's an inspired reapplication of the same law for a new day. So now we can finally pull all these clues together and solve our mystery.
Why does the Bible intentionally keep both versions? What does this tell us about the very nature of this law? Well, what we're seeing is an ancient practice known as covenant renewal. Just like treaties were publicly reread when a new king took the throne, Moses is essentially rereading this divine covenant for a new generation. He's telling them, hey, all those promises and responsibilities God gave to your parents, well, now they belong to you. And this reveals something so brilliant, a deeper spiritual pattern. You see, the law is meant to travel. It moves from being an external inscription carved on stone tablets at Sinai to becoming part of the internal memory of the people in Deuteronomy. And later on, the prophets would talk about its final destination, the law written on the human heart.
So here it is, the ultimate takeaway. Exodus shows us the law being given, that original, divine, thundering from the mountaintop proclamation. But Deuteronomy shows us the law being lived, its inspired interpretation and application for a new reality. The Bible keeps both because we need both, the timeless, unchanging truth and the wisdom to apply it in our own time.
And this leaves us with a final, really powerful question. This ancient text gives us a model for how timeless truths aren't just meant to be repeated over and over, they have to be retold, reapplied to speak to the unique context of every new generation. The question for us then is pretty simple. How do we do that today?